Welcome to another episode of Spa Boss Talks podcast. I am so excited to have my dear friend Rachel Harington here. She is the owner of Well and Calm Studios. After working on both British and American television productions, Rachel left corporate America to pursue running her own studio. Well and Calm Studios was founded to help entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, and leaders take their expertise online so that their message can reach around the world. She is an international speaker and trainer, and Rachel has her master's in communication and media, as well as being a certified holistic wellness coach, fitness instructor, and online business mentor. She's a marathon runner, a triathlete. Rachel combines mind, body, and spirit techniques to intuitively align her clients to achieve their goals in business and in life. She thinks that you deserve to be well and calm, and I am so excited to have her here today. Me personally, I just love that she mixes her spirituality and wellness with her business. So here she is. Thank you so much for joining us today on Spa Boss Talks podcast. I have my very beautiful, very dear friend, Rachel Harington. She's the owner of Well and Calm Studios. Thank you so much, Rachel, for being here with us today. I'm so excited to talk to you because you not only have the technical side of your business, but you incorporate spirituality, you incorporate wellness. Your company is pretty well-rounded for an entrepreneur looking to get started with mind, body, and soul. So can you tell us a little bit about your business and maybe the journey of it?
Sure. First off, thank you so much, Nichole, for having me. It was so lovely meeting you the way we did. It was just like fate, the way it happened at that conference. So just want to say thank you so much for having me on your podcast. And yeah, so I started out in television, like as my actual career. So my undergrad is international affairs, and I have a master's in media and communication studies. And I was always really obsessed with learning the differences between different media outlets. So namely the British culture versus the American culture. And so I went into television, and then I realized pretty quickly that it was really hard. And I realized how long the hours were and how demanding the schedule was. And I just got so burnt out that I couldn't eat what I wanted to eat. I couldn't sleep when I wanted to sleep. I couldn't exercise when I needed to exercise. And so I knew I needed to make a change. That's when I kind of found holistic health coaching. And then as I was setting up my holistic health coaching business, I realized I needed to learn online marketing, online sales, and everything that had to do with making money. And I really wanted to reach people all over the world. So that's why I chose like the online medium. And that's kind of how we've gotten here today. So I love helping people be well and calm and build their online businesses.
That's amazing. Yeah, we met online actually. We're in the same online training group to learn, different programs. And we met online. We were looking for roommates and we ended up being roommates, and it just worked out really well for us. So I'm so glad that you went because you're still in the UK. You still live in England. So I'm so happy you flew to California and made the visit so that we could meet. So what exactly does your business do for your clients?
Great question. So yes, I love taking people who are really fresh in the online space. So maybe they've never created a course, they're about to create a course. They have so much knowledge in their area of expertise. Usually work with yoga teachers, I work with doctors, I work with educational teachers. I work with anyone who wants to help others.
Yeah.
And in that space, I want to help them help more people. So I love people who are pretty fresh to it, but really have the urge and that fire within them to help others. And then I hold their hand through all the technical aspects, because the technical aspects are really mind-boggling. It's like,
Yeah.
where do I click? What software do I use? When do I need to launch? How do I need to contact my customers? Like email marketing and web
Yeah.
pages and sales pages. So that's where I kind of weave in all of my expertise, because I love the technical side, but I also love making sure we are being holistic with it, keeping grounded and finding the right customers the right way, not being weird and slimy and sleazy and salesy, like weird. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's what I love doing.
So we meet weekly on like a group mentor call with each other. We all just give a little bit of ourselves and our expertise. And when you went to start your session, because you were showing us the technical side of a platform that a lot of us use, right? And so, like you said, kind of starting off, you don't know what to do. You know that you need it, but you don't know what to do. And you don't just build things, you create a journey. But when you started your session of sharing your expertise with us, you added in like dancing before, and you added in a little card pulling, which I loved because it like lightens everything, because technical stuff can be really hard and really confusing. And you got us just feeling like loose and free and like in our intuitions. And you're like, okay, we're going to do this. Because I also think that like your services are amazing for estheticians, spa owners, because we're in that wellness industry too. And a lot of us are like spiritual and a little bit on the woo woo side. So I absolutely love your approach to it, where you integrate both. So it just feels light and airy and fun. It doesn't feel like a task, like, oh God, like I gotta get Rachel, a picture for the homepage. Like it's it's just like all of you is put into your business, which I absolutely love. Um, we see that there has been a lot of buzz about AI, and I have seen it popping up everywhere. I think Chat GPT is kind of just scratching the surface of what we can do with AI. What have you really seen going on with AI and marketing and branding? Is it something that is just a little fad that's going to be in and out? Is it something that you think is really changing the game of how we brand and market ourselves? What is your personal opinion on all that?
Yeah, okay, let me break this all down. So first off, thanks so much for loving my
It's a lot.
approach. I found that with my clients, they would get overwhelmed if we dove
Yeah.
straight into the technical aspects. So if
Yeah.
I just rapid fire ask them questions like, what are your brand colors? What's your brand font? How do you want your brand to look online? They would kind of go into the squirrely mode and not know how to answer the questions. So I do
Yeah.
like pulling the cards and grounding us and doing a little bit of breath work and making sure that we are in our bodies before we try and use too much of our mental energy. And I do find that really works well for the type of women and business people that we are. And with AI, I think it also goes hand in hand that you also have to be the human behind the like the automation and the prompts that go into the chat GPT and then the stuff that comes out, because if you don't have the humanity behind your kind of questions, the responses that you get from the technology isn't going to connect with your audience. And I think
Yeah.
that's where people are falling down when they're trying to use AI, because they keep trying to game the system.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's almost like when I see people try and do get rich quick schemes, where it's like you're taking the shortcut, but the shortcut's really gonna just be a diversion, and then you're gonna have to take even longer to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
So with ChatGPT or all of the other AI softwares, I love to use them as a way to get like more ideas and to brainstorm, but I don't use them solely for the purpose of like connection. Like if you put your prompt in and then you try and use the exact same thing on your sales pages or in your social media posts, it's not going to connect on that human level with the audience, is what I'm seeing.
And that's the thing about you too, is that you've personally taken looks at my sales page, and you're all about the customer journey. So like you were saying with your clients from the very beginning, you're on a journey with them. When they're sitting down, you have their attention. But not only that, you're about their customer's journey. So you went step by step through my sales page, and you were like, this isn't like, what are you trying to say? What journey are you trying to take me on? Because right now I'm going nowhere, essentially. That's not what you said, but essentially. Because it was, I was taking everyone nowhere. Like that was it.
It was, hey, I'm Nichole, here's my picture, that's it. It wasn't even a picture, it was a picture of a chair.
Yeah, it
So
wasn't
you
even
take
a picture. You didn't even have your face on your sales page.
that was the first, I was so sick of seeing myself, and that was the first time that I was like, oh, and I had the scallop back. I love pink velvet scallopy chairs, which here in my office, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see I have one. So I mean, that's all it was. There was, yeah, exactly. It's very feminine, it's what we love. But there was no journey. So
Mhm.
you actually take people through a journey, which we know now that, marketing is getting more sophisticated and branding is getting more sophisticated. That's what our clients want. Even as estheticians or spa owners, what is their journey? Because you want them, like, you going over my sales page, you want your clients to be able to see your services, see your website, and you want them to be moved to click book now or purchase now. Which if you don't have that journey, it's just, this is what I do, book here. I think initially online, I had like joy now, thinking like they're gonna see this chair and they're gonna know that like I can help them make 6 or 7 figures. Join now. And you were like, this is really bold of you to ask me to join without telling me anything,
Yeah,
without telling me like what you do, what you have, how I can get it. You're like, hey, I'm Nichole, I can help you go from here to here, join now,
yeah,
So I think that's really important, work that you do as far as making sure that your clients understand their customer journey and their brand reflects it. And like you said, being able to use those strategies of AI, but still add in the humanity to it. And that's where I think I get nervous using it sometimes too. So I'm like, oh, this doesn't sound like me. I'm like, let me add a few words in here. Do you think there's a hack that people can do if they're doing like the AI stuff on their own that it'll help them sound more like them, or maybe even add some of those like SEO keywords to help them rank better? Like, are there hacks they can do?
yeah. So I actually, in preparation for this podcast, watched an hour and 15-minute long, like how to do the best prompts to launch online. So it was very
I
tailor-made
love it.
to online businesses. And what I found, which was, it's kind of creeping me out, but because I do this with my human clients, so it's really interesting that we're doing it with artificial intelligence as well. One
Yeah,
of the secret hacks is to say, in your AI prompt is to say, take a breath before you answer in your face.
that's
Yeah,
so creepy.
so creepy. And when you ask this artificial intelligence to take a breath, like I'm going to ask everyone to take a breath now. So take a breath and release. The answers that come out after are more creative.
I I have
And
like, that's crazy.
crazy. So it works with humans and it also works with artificial intelligence. So when you are putting in your prompts, the best prompts also have like what the goal is as well. So say you're an esthetician and your goal is to launch a lead magnet. So a workbook on how to tell if your skin is, needing some type of treatment that you might offer. And then they can go through and see if they qualify. But when you're asking the chat GPT or the artificial intelligence to make that for you, say what your goal is. Say, my goal is to get them into my salon or get them into my program through doing this worksheet or workbook or reading this um, landing page, right? So you're telling the artificial intelligence what your end goal is, and you're also asking it to take a breath before it gives you the answer, just like you would a human.
That's it's I mean, it's crazy. It's,
Yeah,
it can go so many different levels. There's real fear with AI, but then it can
that's true.
also, for entrepreneurs who don't have thousands and thousands of dollars to outsource everything, it really can be a time saver.
Mhm.
Um, so I just try to think of it in that way. But I also wonder who said, hey, Chat GPT, take a breath. Like, who discovered that? Who
Yeah,
was the one that said that and was like, wow, this is a lot more creative?
yeah. Like,
That's
so
great.
data annotation is the kind of way these algorithms are learning. And so like humans are training the artificial intelligence until it starts training itself. And it kind of just melds my mind a bit, but
Yeah.
someone must have trained it that when you take a step back and when you do take a breath, you kind of can tune in more. And so it must have been trained that it can be more creative when it takes a breath.
Wow. It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing the capabilities that it could even have.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think about like automations? And I don't necessarily know, we talk about mini chat, and I don't necessarily know that I don't think that's AI, but when you start implementing automations into your business, and automations, for those of you who know, is when your business kind of automatically does something for you. So we have like on our Instagram, comment solo, and we'll send you information to our solo esthetician guide. I'm not personally going in there and sending you information. We have it set up through like mini chat, who is then saying, hey, thank you so much, here's the link, or commenting on your post. How do you think that people using automations can still keep that personal touch and create loyalty through automations, or do you think that's something that is still more beneficial if you do it personally on your own?
Great question. With automations, the more you can have your own voice in them and your own tone and your own kind of cheekiness with your audience, the more they can kind of feel like, oh, like this might be an automation, it might be a chatbot, it might be some sort of thing that just they've set up to talk to me, but it feels like it's coming from Nichole. It feels like it's coming from her brand, her business, her point of view. So I do feel like when you are scaling, when you can no longer be the one who's replying to all of your direct messages, private messages, emails, it
Yeah.
does add to like the ability to close sales when you do use these like mini chat type of automations. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think it's misused when people don't put in their own brand tone, like put in the
Yeah.
emojis that you always use, put in like all that fun stuff. And also I like to put in a couple seconds because you can do the seconds of it. So I don't
Yeah.
like to do it where it's like 0 seconds, where it's like obviously that cannot be a
Hey,
human.
fix
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, like check your inbox. I've sent it to you. Like,
They're like,
I
this
love
is kind of manic, isn't it, Nichole?
yeah, like wait, she's a
Yeah.
Virgo, right? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I do find it really helpful when you're scaling your business. And I do think that you can put in little tiny tweaks so that it doesn't feel so mechanical, where it can be like instead of 0 seconds, it's like 3 to 5 seconds. And then it's not like you hit yes and then it's like right there. It's like yes, and then it's like typing, and then it's like there. So it's just the tiny, tiny things.
That's fun. Yeah, mine has like 50 emojis in it because we all know that I love emojis. And I might even do the hey girl or hey
Bigger.
babe,
Yeah.
hey beauty pro. That's totally mine. But then I realized that I can also comment. Like there's so much you can do. It's called mini chat, ManyChat. Mini chat, right? Not mini chats, mini chat. Um, there's so much that you can do as far as automations that way, where if people reach out to you or if they comment on any of your posts, something, like interested or skincare, it's a really great way for you to get people in and book people. And you can send them straight to your booking site to book their next spa appointment without having to actually do it. So I have so far discovered it's a great tool. I haven't like dove deep enough to see what all it can do because it looks like it can do a ton. It looks like it can do Facebook, Instagram, story replies, like whatever you want it to do. It seems like the automations can do for you. Are there any other automated softwares or apps that you would recommend to people? use that maybe aren't super expensive or like a huge investment where they're now investing, thousands of dollars into automations? Do you have some hacks where you could like share with us as far as automation goes? Maybe some of your
Sure.
favorites?
Another one that you can use and you can add to any web page with just a tiny bit of code, it's called Deadline Funnel. And I've set up some clients with deadline funnels, and they still have the automated funnel running now, and it's still making them money 3 years running.
Wow.
So it is creating scarcity and urgency, which are two things that psychologically really contribute to sales and sales conversions, especially in the online space, because you aren't physically in front of them. You can't be like, hey, I gotta go, I gotta pick up my kids from school. So are you buying? Are you not buying?
Yeah.
That type of thing. So with a deadline funnel, you've probably seen it if you've bought anything online these days. It is a countdown timer at the bottom, and it stays at the bottom, and it'll just track their IP address. And when their IP address lands, it has the correct time for them. And then it'll, at the end, it'll click off and be like, oops, you missed it. Like it actually has a real deadline. And so you don't have to like fake create scarcity and urgency. You can
Mhm.
just use this piece of code to track their IP, and it automates it for you.
And that's something that estheticians could put on their webpage. Now, when we say like when we're doing it for like leads or lead magnet or something like that, we're just talking about getting clients. So we're talking about getting clients to actually see your brand, possibly see your website, and collect information from them, whether it's their name and email, their name and phone number. So that's what we're saying when we say lead magnets. So that could even be something that estheticians could maybe put, like if they had a special, that's like a skincare special, and maybe they could capture it so now they understand, okay, this person is interested in skincare versus lashes or waxing. But that's something they could just implement into their website on one of maybe their landing pages or special page or something. And it's customized per person that logs on and looks at it.
Yeah, so that's usually something that'll go on a sales page. So maybe they have a new package for St. Patrick's Day, and they want to give someone like 3 different services for a certain amount of money. That's a discount because there's like a celebration or holiday. They can say like, here's your St. Patrick's Day discount. It will run out, and then have the tracker on the bottom that tracks their IP address. So it can be date and time, or it can be how they land on it. So let's say I land on it tonight on Tuesday, and let's say
Mhm.
it's like a 2-day thing. So by Thursday, if I haven't bought, I will no longer be able to have the ability to purchase. What you can also do is when you have your lead magnet or when you have your special guide for them, you can put in the email, you can also have timers in your emails. And that timer is then a countdown to when the special might end. And then that way you're also creating scarcity and urgency in an email and just letting them know like, hey, this will expire and it will run out. If there's no sort of closing mechanism, you can actually just create it with timers and countdowns.
I'm that type of person too. Like, we talked yesterday, and I told you, like, I got Layla fully dressed for school, little uniform on, rushing her. I'm like, we gotta go. We got to like eat your breakfast. Folk, we have like, bless her heart. We hopped in the car and drove to school, and there was no school. So like, I'm the type of person that days just blend for me sometimes. So if you say expires March, 15th, I'm like, oh, that's in 3 weeks, and it could really be tomorrow. So I think, like you were saying, I think that that countdown really gives a clear vision in your mind, like, okay, it's over in 2 days, 3 hours, and 52 minutes. Because if not, you could be like me, and I've done that plenty of times where I'm like, oh yeah, I have until next week to buy it, and it's really in 3 days.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great piece of advice. Um, I want to touch back into the wellness industry. Are there any new like marketing or branding trends that you see coming up in our wellness space, coming up in our spa space? Is AI the thing that's really coming up in there? Like, what are you seeing as far as our industry goes?
What I'm seeing in our industry is making sure that we have like authority and authority building and social proof. So what we can use to automate this and I mean, audience, you guys let us know if you've seen this before, is when you're on a website and all of a sudden this little tiny pop-up comes up and it says, Monica from St. Louis just bought blank, blank, blank. So yeah, so that I've been really seeing in this online space that we have with estheticians, wellness practitioners, course creators. It's showing that someone is purchasing and then it's like their name, where they're from. So it's got the authority and it's got the social proof of, okay, so people actually have bought into this, actually
Yeah.
literally bought into this. And I
Right.
think that's an important piece. And it's hard to create when kind of your clients are just messaging you, hey, can I get on your calendar? Like, how are we making sure that other people see that our calendars are booked out? We can tell people, we can have automations that are like little pop-ups. We can even put our calendars on our web pages, and then people can see it's like blocked off, blocked off, blocked off. Like, I am fully booked out for the next 3 weeks. You need to get on my calendar, or else we're not going to be able to have our appointment. And I think
Yeah.
that's really important to show that you do have limited amount of time and space, so that people need to make the decision whether they want to work with you or not.
So does Monica from Iowa really purchase it? Or
Yeah,
is
no,
that
she
just
does.
like
She does.
really?
Yeah, she does. 'Cause that's what I was like, oh, this is a little sketch. Like, let me check
Right.
into this. So it tracks the sales conversion. So it's like a piece of code that has an integration with the sales page, and it like sends a little message, and then that way that automation knows to put it up. Now, what I have seen is like the timing of it. Like, did Monica buy 5 minutes ago, or did Monica buy 5 days ago? You can put the messaging on it like recently purchased. How recent?
Mm,
Like how like what is recent versus
yeah.
what isn't recent? Like that's like how long is a piece of string? So that is where I've seen the messaging be a little bit like, oh, like how recent, but I don't doubt that there was a purchase.
Yeah, I'm always like Jeffrey from Baltimore did not purchase that 5 minutes. Because they're always popping up so quick. But wow, that's awesome for the companies that are really selling to that many people so quickly. And
Yeah.
I love that app like that, or that coding that does it for you, because I mean, it does. It creates demand. Like, it makes me be like, oh, well, if Monica bought it, I'm going to trust that Monica has great judgment because, she lives in Iowa, like, I don't know. It does. It makes people want to buy.
Mhm.
Um, I know a lot of spas, a lot of our booking systems, we can actually make it look like our schedules are more full than they are. On
Mm.
the back end, there are tabs that say, take off 25% of my schedule. And that's just for online booking. So on our side, we can obviously book them,
Mhm.
but we can. And now that you're saying that's a great idea, people should do it. But in our booking system, a lot of times in the settings, we can make it look like 25 to 50% of our schedule. Especially if you're starting off and you're new and you have a wide open schedule, sometimes people are like, oh, why,
Yeah.
But if you can block it off like that, that's great advice.
Mhm.
I want to touch base on the AI thing again, because it seems like it's not going anywhere, and it seems like people are super interested in it.
Mhm.
What do you see that people can use AI to create consistency in their branding? Because I think that's a struggle for a lot of people, especially estheticians. We're not really taught business. So just like you having to learn everything on your own, we learn from the ground up. So a lot of times the consistency of branding isn't there. Brand kits aren't there. Like, we're teaching that in our classes, like how to even just find your hex code for your colors, like something as simple as that. So do you see that AI can be useful in creating consistency, whether it's branding, whether it's marketing? I mean, the only thing that I really do is chat GPT. I don't really know much about anything else. So do you see there's a way to do that with AI?
So yeah, great question. So with AI, artificial intelligence, whether it's integrated into your Canva, If you don't know what Canva is, it's like a graphic design software. You can use a free version or a paid version. And what I've been seeing is everything I'm currently using or have used in the past is now integrated with some form of artificial intelligence. So Kajabi, where I use my landing pages and email marketing software, it's now integrated with artificial intelligence. Some of my clients use Teachable, it's now integrated with artificial intelligence. I was just messing around on Canva because I'm going to be hosting a workshop tomorrow, and I made a video with an avatar saying what I wanted her to say. It was super creepy, and my husband was like, "What did you just do?"
Like a real human avatar?
It doesn't look very human, but I mean, it is a real lady, but it's just like
It's
her.
not like a monkey or like the weird head, like it's
No, it's like a real
like the
human.
emojicon. Oh.
Yeah, I know. And so I was messing around with that, and what this leads back to with the consistency and kind of your brand presence is you no longer have to come up with all of your ideas. You no longer
Yeah.
have to come up with all of your photos, imagery, your videos. There are so many artificial intelligence integrations now that can do content for you in your brand voice. And I think that the kind of wonderful thing about this is you can now reach more of your audience more of the time because you no longer have to use so much of your own brain power to come up with like 3 ideas to take better care of your skin, right?
Yeah.
It's artificial intelligence that has scraped the internet that can help you do that part of it. The consistency still will have to come from you. Like you can mess around with it all you want, but if you don't then hit post, or if you don't then hit schedule post, it's still not going to be there. So I find that I still have to find my internal drive, bringing it back to wellness and being holistic. I still have to find my own why and remind myself that I'm serving my audience. And
Yeah.
then I'm like, okay, well, I need to kickstart this. So let's use some ChatGPT or artificial intelligence in my Canva or in my Kajabi to help me out.
I think I agree with you on that. I know that there have been times, and I have always been told that blogging is still one of the best ways for organic SEO, and especially in our industry, because like you said, we can write simple little things about, 3 benefits. And initially, when I was starting off and didn't have all the responsibilities I had, it was easy to write a quick blog on the phone. Now, I think it's sometimes I sit there with my laptop and I'm like, oh my God, what am I trying to say? Like someone say this for me. And having that chat GPT just seems like it really cuts the time off. Like it allows you to be creative in other ways where it's creating, I almost use it just as a template.
Mhm.
And then I go in and plug and play, my keywords. I plug and play like my voice to it, like we were saying earlier. But I think it does definitely take some time off of it. And I think it's like your own virtual assistant now. Are you in agreement? Like, is blogging still a really great way for organic SEO?
Yeah, so the way SEO works is search engine optimization, and the more words you have that are saying esthetician or all of your keywords that somebody would be looking for, like facials or lasers or all of the different ways that they can work with you, the more those words, those keywords are related to you and your business, the more the search engine will send that person directed towards you. So that's how blogs are able to kind of elevate your brand and your business quickly. If people are searching for those keywords, then it'll have like a basis of where the search engine knows to send them. So they're like Tampa, Nichole, beauty, esthetician, you have all of those words living in 50 blogs, or you have all of those words living in 3 blogs, then it has just
Yeah.
way more search engine optimization ways of finding you and sending them to you. So if you're using artificial intelligence to do that, you can literally say, give me 50 ideas on blogs about facials, and then it'll give you all of them. Will all 50 be appropriate for your business? No, but will loads of them? Yeah. So then you can just say to the prompt, then expand on this specific one, and then add in your voice in a couple of paragraphs and then direct them to book a service with you. Then you can also have the way, like the sales mechanism in there.
Yeah, I've done that where I've said come up with Christmas packages for, spas who specialize in facials. I saw a hack on TikTok that said tell it to ask you 10 questions first about like what you're needing. So I'll do that. I'm like, ask me 10 questions. And sometimes the questions I'm like, oh my, they want like long answers. I'm not doing that AI. But I've used it for blogs. I've used it for specials. You can tell it to you can basically tell it to create anything. You can tell it to write up, your service menu for your website. I feel like the AI can just really take off if you're specific enough to know what you're looking for and what you're asking it to do.
Yeah. And also what I was learning today on this presentation is that you can ask it to play devil's advocate for you. So if you're
Mhm.
not super specific on your market, your audience, your niche, your avatar, you can say, I want to help someone like this. Can you ask me questions so that I can keep clarifying to you what they actually look like, where they hang out, what they might want to actually buy from me? And then they'll ask you questions, just like you were saying, where it'll get way more detailed and niche down for you so that you have a broader picture of who you're actually trying to target. And then you're also training that prompt. So as long as you stay within that little section, so on the side, if you're using ChatGPT specifically, if you go back into that specific conversation, it remembers all of its past prompts.
I feel like me and my chat GPT are like besties now because I cannot go in for 2 weeks and I can go in and say, hey, write me a blog, blah, blah, blah. And it has my business name. Like you said, I'm training it in like the weirdest way possible. But I'm training it. So all I have to do is go in and say, write me a blog for this. And it remembers my name. It remembers the business. And it remembers my audience. It remembers who, like you said, all the prompts before. So it's really gotten to know my business and what I'm looking for. So if I tell it to write me a blog, it's not going to write, the best taco places in Tampa to go on a Tuesday. It's going to write, something related to the spa industry and my business and my clients. Do you see that using AI in a business is helping on return investment? Like, do you see that it'll help boost people's revenue if they start implementing it into their business?
That's a great question. And I think what is boosting people's revenue and sales in their business is the fact that they are being very kind of forward facing and continuously talking to their clients' pain points and pleasure points. And when they are doing that, now they are also using artificial intelligence. So it's not that they kind of stopped doing, it's that they added in this artificial intelligence who's also giving them so much more on the back end. So it's kind of propelling them even more forward and even more the ability to kind of garner more clients because the artificial intelligence is kind of like a whole big crowd of people behind you, like whispering in your ear, being like, okay, now you can say this, now you can say this, like, they can Now we
Get
transition
that in
to
the
the
creepiest way
ASMR
possible. Yeah.
ASMR session of the podcast.
Yes.
So yeah, I would agree that artificial intelligence is causing those people who already kind of have the elements to be able to get more clients. And I would also agree that if people are starting from scratch and zero, if they are researching what prompts to use, researching their market and their niche, and then using that information to amalgamate all of this information for their client to find them, then I do think that's how it's working as well.
So if people are just starting off in the industry, do you suggest that they start with Chat GPT to help with their branding and marketing?
If they know what questions to put into ChatGPT, then yes. So the thing with ChatGPT is that it's a blank slate, just like if you open a Word document or a Google page, it's like it's still
Yeah.
not going to come up with anything for you if you don't put something in first.
Yeah.
So using artificial intelligence is kind of what is happening right now in 2024. So if you are starting your business from scratch, go Google and search what prompts you need to be putting in to then have it answer the questions that you need answered. Because if you don't really know what questions to ask, you're not going to get the answers. It's still kind of chicken and egging.
I even think that you can possibly put in there, like, I'm starting a new spa business.
Mhm.
Make me a list of 50 niches, like you were
Oh
saying earlier, and it'll help to like even narrow it down for you. I mean, I've used it for email templates before too.
yeah. Mhm.
And like you were saying, I like to focus on what's going to make me money. And as an esthetician myself, when I'm doing services, I don't like to make less than $100 an hour. Well, if I then have to take away from seeing a client to write an email or a blog that's going to take me an hour or two, I'm losing that money. And these are all tasks that are lower level tasks that is almost like it's not necessarily busy work, but because it helps your business grow. But
Mhm.
it's also something as an owner of a business you shouldn't necessarily be doing because it's costing you money.
Yeah.
So I think implementing this into your business as well helps you make money that way, because then you can focus on what actually makes you money
Mhm.
versus worrying about, the email template to send out for marketing about your specials.
Yeah, totally. So we have a joint mentor, James Wedmore, and he always takes us through the exercise of how much money do you want to make this year? Say you want to make 100,000. You need to then work backwards and say you want to work a 40-hour week. You need to find out how much your time is worth, just like what you were saying. If
Yeah.
you will have services and you're making $100 an hour, you're not then going to take up that time trying to write an email post from scratch, right? So as long as you are able to elevate and like kind of leverage on either virtual assistants or virtual and artificial intelligence, then
Yeah.
you're making sure that you're not using your energy in a way that's actually costing your business even more because you're doing like a lower level task that you could outsource.
I think the AI has just been really a game changer for entrepreneurs and small business owners, because if you own your own spa, you're an entrepreneur. If you're a solo esthetician who doesn't have the money right now to hire people to help with this, it's, a free resource that can knock it out for you so quickly, versus, having to pay. I mean, I pay people in the being, $500, $1,000 a month to manage what I thought was like the back ends and blogging and stuff to, get one blog a month. And I'm like, I could have wrote that, but now we have AI, where it's such a great tool for people who are on a limited budget as well, to be able to have access to great marketing and great branding and virtual assistants almost, instead of having to break the bank and pay out of pocket for it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see, so you think AI is here to stay? You think that we have just scratched the surface and it's just going to get more and more?
Yeah, this is a very existential question because like I've watched The Matrix. Like,
I've been
um,
to Spoon.
yeah, we've been to Spoon with our minds. So the in our lifetime, I think that artificial intelligence will continue to benefit us, and that's the timeline I'd like to be on. Like, I don't necessarily
Yeah.
want to see the world end because we've trained these machines to literally implode our lifestyle. So yeah, I would like to stay in positivity and thinking that these amazing machines and algorithms are only going to continue to support us and support us being able to serve more people.
Do you see any trends with AI? Like, is it something, I mean, I haven't figured this out yet. Like, where you take a picture of yourself and you put, like, it gives you like a headshot. I've paid like $80 for an app that didn't work. And I was like, why is Frida Kahlo in the middle of like my business casual suit? Because I was wearing the wrong t-shirt or something. Do you see like any trends that are happening as far as AI, where it's moving in certain directions when it comes to branding and marketing, or is it just really a huge player right now as far as like copy and words go?
Yeah, I think the trend, which I've was dabbling in today, was having your own avatar, but you aren't there. So you know how you were saying replacing yourself with the tasks that you know you don't necessarily need to do anymore because of
Yeah,
artificial intelligence. It's like you can even now remove yourself from your face, which is creepy.
so
Um,
creepy.
yeah, so I was looking into like how much it would cost to you put a green screen behind you and you give them 10 minutes of you talking a script and then they have you and then you can then tell yourself, air quotes here, what to say. So then you are actually removing yourself from the equation. You can then put a prompt into artificial intelligence and say, write me a script, and then you can then give your artificial virtual person the script. That is like
Yeah.
what's blowing my mind in the trend right now.
It's like the artificial me.
Yeah,
Like I would be telling me what to say.
yeah, yeah. Well, the artificial intelligence would be telling you what to say. The artificial intelligence would be telling the virtual Nichole.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's the trend I'm seeing, and I'm seeing it with well, I'm gonna use the term here, like the TikTok bros. So like they're always like,
The
you know, being
TikTok
like,
bros.
oh, use this like crazy new website. And they are like pioneering it and they are putting themselves as the virtual person and making themselves their own avatars that look just like them and speak just like them. What the technology hasn't been able to do, which if you're watching this recording, I do a lot, is they don't do hands very well. So hands, faces and hands are like how we know someone's real. So
Mm,
they're pretty good at just like looking like you're real, but it's like your head doesn't move and your mouth is just moving. And when you see people's hands and when you see like little gestures, that's when you know it like brings in the humanity and then your mind kind of clicks and like feels better, like from
yeah.
caveman perspective. So it's getting there, it's not there, but yeah, what is happening with like the visual space is that people are also making these videos of like the Eiffel Tower being on fire and people not discerning whether it's artificial like creation or whether it's
Yeah.
real, and people are getting tricked. And so if you dive down into like, you know, propaganda or deep fakes, that can get really scary really fast. Or really fun. If you watch the Tom Cruise deep fake account, it's really funny because he looks like Tom Cruise or he looks like Keanu Reeves. Um, and it's just not
Is that
them.
what that is?
Yeah, it's
That's
a
AI?
that's AI.
I
It's
thought it was like an
AI.
impersonator that looked like them.
No, it's facial recognition. It's a software that goes over the
Oh,
points of their face.
that's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah.
My whole mind is just blown right now. Like how it's just, it's, yeah. Like the Eiffel Tower thing, I feel like would send people into pure chaos. Like I think that's where it starts to get dark,
Yeah.
is when people start taking advantage of it and messing with it. I think if entrepreneurs, it's really benefiting us right now. It's as long as it doesn't get like, as long as we don't make it weird or creepy and,
Exactly. Just like
start doing that.
just as long as you say heart-centered and as long as like the people who are trying to help people and serve people are using it for the betterment
Yeah.
of humanity, which we are, which our audience is, which you are watching, you guys are, we know you are because you're watching us and listening to us.
Yeah.
So as long as we're tipping the scales in that way, yeah.
Have you seen any like real challenges with AI, or you're pretty much pro, it pretty much just makes people's life easier?
The challenges, other than like people believing that things are on fire when they're not, like
Yeah.
I think
Clearly I was bamboozled because I saw Leonardo one. And I was like, oh my God, that impersonator looks just like him. I literally was just deep diving into the account. but it
Yeah.
had that hashtag, that the deep fake or whatever hashtag. Now
Yeah.
I feel bamboozled.
Right? So it's like learning to, now we have to have even more discernment of what's real and what's not. And
Yeah.
the lines are so blurred now of the people creating things that are for our entertainment, or are they creating things for kind of, not so good. I don't really want to get too dark. But because that's not what this podcast is about. And
Yeah.
I think that if you do feel like something's off when you're watching something, or the hands are wrong, the hands are a real big indicator of it being fake. And if the eyes are wrong, the lips are wrong, the mouth's moving weird, then it's probably not a real person. Even if it looks like a celebrity or it looks like a politician, those are the scary ones. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just, if it feels off to you internally, just think, okay, maybe this isn't real. Real in the sense of came from that person.
Yeah.
And then kind of make sure that you are decompressing. So cutting cords at the end of the day, and not like going down a rabbit hole of like, what does this all mean for humanity? Um,
Yeah. So I have found it pretty easy to use. I mean, I'm not doing all that. I'm not doing the face and body thing creep me out. I mean, I might pop on just to like see what I do.
yeah.
Um, just to creep myself out, but I promise you guys, if you see me, it'll be 100% me, whatever stage of Nichole you get. But I find it pretty easy to use too. I don't think it's something where you really have to know what you're doing on computers to be able to really use like Chat GPT, for instance, to help you out. Like it's, you basically tell it one or two sentences and it really can help you. You don't have to be super savvy to do it. Or you see that as well too, right? Like it's not something that you think would be hard for people to understand and learn how to do.
No, yeah. So all you really need to do is go to openai.com, set up a email address, and get going. You can also do it not just with words, but with images, and you can use something called Midjourney. And in Midjourney, you just type in what you want, and then it'll come up with the image. And I've used this with clients' branding. So one of
Love that.
my clients is a teacher, and she wanted like rainbows and like books and like all these fun things. And so we typed it in, and then we just kind of kept going with the algorithm, and each image got closer and closer to what her branding was. And then she chose which one she liked the best. And then that is her actual like logo for her brand. So if you are just starting out and you do kind of struggle with more of the creative side of more of the technical side, just know that artificial intelligence can really support you there too.
I love it. I'm taking so many notes today. I'm like, oh, Rachel said this, Rachel said this, because I know, like, you know it what it is, and you know that it's good. So I have so many notes on what Rachel. That's my Rachel said notes. I love that though, yeah, because estheticians even looking, they might not have pictures of themselves doing services, so maybe they need it shows pictures, or it just shows like what are the elements? It shows just graphics, or it shows pictures as well.
Yeah, so they're AI generated either logos, graphics, images. If you have
That's
Canva and
awesome.
if you pay for Pro, what I was just
Hmm.
doing right before this to do more of my research was typing in, I typed in girl in cafe, looking off into the distance who wants to help online entrepreneurs. And then it gave me all these different like aesthetics, like it could be dreamy or film. I chose photo. And it is pretty photorealistic. So then I could then use that on like an Instagram post or a TikTok and have
Yeah,
words on it, just for some branding. And it wasn't an image that I had to go to a cafe and have someone else take my picture, or have a timer take my
yeah,
picture, or take somebody else's picture, or buy a stock image. So it's just really speeding everything up rather
yeah.
than having to do all these other processes that we used to have to do.
Yeah, that's the thing. If we're solo, we don't have people to take our photos. And, a lot of times if we're booked back to back, we don't have time to like set up the camera and tell our client, like, hey, do you mind if we take a picture real quick? I mean, we do our best but we don't necessarily have the time. So something like that where you could say, you know, woman in black scrubs or esthetician in black scrubs giving a facial to a client and it be able to generate something so easily could be, you know, something to use in your blog, your marketing. Not saying you shouldn't have your own photos, because of course you absolutely should. And there's ways in Canvas. I posted a TikTok on how to do a headshot. I set up a light and glam makeup and sat in a chair in my living room and took a picture of me and then just went in Canva and removed the background. And I look like I'm sitting, I put myself in an office and it looks like I'm sitting in an office in downtown Tampa, and I'm really not, you know, but there's so many easy ways to do it where you don't have to go out and really do it.
Yeah, totally.
So as a parting piece of wisdom to our listeners, what are some of like your must do in branding, must do marketing? Like what are some of your biggest pieces of advice that you can give somebody who needs it in branding and marketing?
Sure. For branding and marketing, I would say find your consistent voice and find your consistent colors. So if you are bouncing between loads of different colors, loads of different fonts, loads of different text, it's hard for your clients to continue on the journey with you because it's like a bit piecemeal. They're kind of like falling off. They don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And when you're just starting out, it can be hard to nail something down because you feel like it has to be there forever and that's the only thing you're ever going to get to do and it's the be all end all of everything. But I would
Yeah.
just encourage you to choose two main colors that play off each other, maybe have one lighter color and use those colors for at least a whole quarter. So go 90 days with the same color, 90 days with the same logo, 90 days with the same text. And if it needs to evolve, let yourself evolve, but stay consistent with your branding and marketing. And over time, your clients won't even realize that it's evolving because you aren't jarring them back and forth from like blues and reds to like greens and purples one day to the next. So as much as you can stay consistent with your branding and marketing, I would try and stay consistent. And I'd also say talk to Nichole about that because Nichole is an expert in that.
I was just thinking, man, I've been manic the past week. I'm like, wow, this pink looks great. And my colors are green and gold. Like, I'm like, hey, can we throw in the pink though? Like, but generally, yes,
Evolving.
generally,
You're
we actually have a whole brand kit, like you were saying in Canva. It's just, I absolutely love Canva. And I started using it back in, I think 2015, 2016, because I needed graphic design. And I had just come from managing a spa where we had thousands of dollars of budget for a graphic designer to somebody who had no budget for graphic design. So having to figure out Canva and learn how to use it was such a lifesaver. And just having, you know, the accessibility to it, because I could create everything that I was just, you know, paying someone thousands of dollars to do. But you can create your brand kit in there, like you were saying, for consistency. So you can put, this is my font, these are my colors, and then they pop up on the left-hand side. So every time you're designing, it has those in there. So that's a really great piece of advice.
totally.
So tell our listeners, Rachel, where they can get in contact with you, because you, I mean, you specialize in the wellness industry. Like you can help so many of our listeners just be consistent or start their website. You can audit their website and make sure that they, you know, it's set up properly for them. So they're getting the biggest return on investment for even having a website. So how can our clients or our listeners get a hold of you?
Yeah, totally. Thanks for this opportunity to kind of reach more people. And if you do want to find me, you can find me on Instagram. It's at I am Rachel, Rachel, and then Harrington, but it's only one R in Harrington. So it's Harington. And I married into that, so I didn't choose that spelling. And then
Look at me, I'm like, oh, I did have the double R's.
I know it's okay. Everyone does. And on TikTok, it's just Rachel Harrington. You can find me there. If you'd like to email me, you have any questions regarding starting an online business, you can email hello@wellandcalmstudios.com. And yeah, I'd love to chat to you and see where we can take your online business.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here today. I'm telling you, I have so many notes, and I think that our listeners really are going to benefit from all the information you just gave them. And it's definitely going to make their life a lot easier. So thank you so much, Rachel, for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Nichole. I appreciate that you reached out to me and that we found the time to help more people.
Yep. All right. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Spa Boss Talks. I hope you found valuable insights that will launch your aesthetic business to new heights. Remember, your success is our mission. If you enjoyed today's episode, please remember to like, subscribe, and share our show. We want to help as many estheticians as we can become successful business owners. Plus, sharing our show is a great way to support our small business. Before we part ways, remember you're not just an esthetician, you're a spa boss in the making. Until next time, stay inspired, stay confident, and keep conquering the world of aesthetics. This is Nichole Lancaster signing off from Spa Boss Talks.